it's just the right amount of fun popcorn flick that you need for like a Friday night to get your weekend started.
Drive-by movies, you're watching
Fresh releases.
My name's Blaise.
And I'm James.
And this week we're reviewing the brand new film, They Will Kill You.
Who the f*** are you?
They Will Kill You is about a woman who takes a job as a housekeeper in a New York City high-rise, unaware of the building's history of disappearances. She soon realizes the community is shrouded in mystery. So this is a movie that didn't go in completely blind, but all I really saw was just like a couple TikTok clips of just ads. And I was like, oh, this looks fun enough. I just knew that the plot was just a girl who's trying to fight against being sacrificed at like a high-rise hotel or something. So I was like, cool, looks like a fun cult movie. I was expecting like it to be very similar to Ready or Not. It's got same vibes, but it's still very different. I know that a lot of people are comparing the two. But Blaise, what are your thoughts coming out of They Will Kill You?
So this is a movie like you. I think I didn't see really any promotional material outside of a few ads that were super cringy. But I think we were talking previous week about like, oh, what movie should we check out next? And we had a couple options. You know, we were discussing Project Hail Mary. Also discussing Ready or Not 2 in this film, and you were like, oh, I'm more down to see this than Ready or Not 2, and after watching this I kind of wish we watched Ready or Not 2. I thought this movie was just like there was aspects I really liked about it, but then there were other aspects that I just felt so far beyond short. But overall, I will say it was a fun time watching it, but then most of the time I'm just like wondering how this got made and like who made this. And then when the credits splash and I saw the credits, I like everything started like puzzling together and making a lot of sense. I saw I forget the name of the director, but the guy who did It, that director, who I pretty much haven't liked any of his stuff, he was like the executive producer on this. And I started to realize I think he's trying to create almost his own Blumhouse in a way.
Yeah, which quite surprised me because, yeah, I don't know who this movie, like who approved this movie technically. Correct me if I'm wrong, I probably should have looked more into it, but I think this is a New Line distribution. Of course, I know that there was a lot of studios that like backed it. There were a couple film logos. Domain Entertainment is a company that I've seen their logo before, a lot of like indie horror films and stuff too. But they were one of the people who helped back this movie. But yeah, it's just like surprising that this movie got such a wide release with it being such a bizarre kind of movie. It's nothing that you and I haven't seen before. That's where this movie is that's what's kind of this downfall of this movie is. If you've seen a lot of movies, like you'll be able to catch a lot of the references. Like I was like, oh, like that. This reminds me of this. This reminds me of that. It's still different enough to make this movie fun though. I like had a blast watching it. It's a fun time. Wouldn't say I was like groundbreaking, or I wasn't like, like amazed by it, but just for a 90-minute movie, it still felt kind of longish and like kind of dragged, but it's just the right amount of fun popcorn flick that you need for like a Friday night to get your weekend started, I guess you could say. So it does win at that, but it doesn't like win at like being like, oh, this is a director you got to watch out for.
For me, it felt like a lot of the consistency with this movie didn't really make sense. There were scenes that seemed like more high budget, or like the sets were pretty impressive at times, and then other times the sets were like looked extremely cheap. Like you just walked into a room and there's like a couple items in there and it wasn't dressed like well enough. But then there are other scenes where like the set is dressed so well where I'm like, oh, this is actually really, selling this location. It was kind of jarring, I guess, for me at times. And then even the cast, which I liked, I was like, they're all actors we've seen mostly in things, and they're not in so much stuff, and I think they all did a great job. Heather Graham, Patricia Arquette, and seeing Tom Felton too is kind of interesting. I'm like, I haven't seen him in a while. Like honestly, maybe the Harry Potter movies is like the last time I saw him. But yeah, it was like a fun cast at times, and the movie overall was pretty fun. I would say there's times where the action is like entertaining enough. And the thing that I like the most, I would say, about the movie is the effects. I thought the creature effects, specifically thinking when Heather Graham gets her head blown off and there's like this tiny kind of like nub thing out of her head, I thought like a lot of the creature effects were really cool. But then they would do like stuff where it was practical, where the practical looked really good. But then there was times where like they just throw in so much CGI where I'm like, okay, that offsets the fact that you used practical in the previous shot, because now it just looks bad in the CGI version of the same creature effect. Thinking specifically about the climax of the movie.
I wouldn't say there was anything wrong with the tone. The movie's pretty consistent with like switching between like black humor and just also like over the top violence and gore. But just I felt like at times though we skipped from going. I preferred like the Kill Bill first 30 minutes and over the top goriness versus like kind of more the John Wick approach in the second half of the movie, or at least the middle third. There's three main fight scenes within the movie. There's the first scene that establishes, which was great and comical. I was just like, whoa, you guys killed Tom, like minor spoilers, but you killed Tom Felton already. I knew he was in it, but I was just like, you killed him already. And then there was a twist of just like, I had no idea that it was going to be like undying cults that are invincible and can survive through anything and repair themselves. I didn't know that, so that caught me off guard and was a fun joke, and I was just like riding high off of that for a while. And then we got this crazy Heather Graham eyeball sequence, which was great. Then we have this awesome fight scene with a fire wielding axe in this like ballroom, but just I don't know, like that just kind of felt out of place, and just like the physics kind of felt different within that fight sequence. Like it felt like it was trying to be a little bit more realistic, but just still was like over the top, and just like that was kind of where I was like kind of not getting into it. And then the final fight scene, like there were still a couple fight scenes here and there, but like it's these three main ones. The final one where we get like to the final boss of the movie, where we could get into spoiler territory, but you know, they're looking into worshiping this pig head, very similar to or reminiscent and inspired by Lord of the Flies, being on a spear, able to talk to its cult people. And that was like an interesting fight sequence, but then it just felt more Looney Tunes based, which was fun, but just like it matches the overall over the top tone of the movie, but just these three fight sequences just didn't feel original in their own. It just kind of felt like they could have been placed in three different movies, despite it still fitting with the overall premise, though, if you understand what I mean.
No, and I get what you're saying, and I do think a lot of that falls on the fight choreography in this movie. I just felt like it was wholly unoriginal. That ballroom sequence that you're mentioning with that fire axe, it reminded me literally of the scene in Monkey Man where they're fighting in that bar. With the fire, and it kind of also reminded me slightly of Old Boy, like that sequence where it's just one person versus like 30 to 50 people. So even though it wasn't shot the same, it just had that same vibe, and the choreography just felt kind of uninspired, or specifically inspired by movies that we all think of when we think of these like same style of fight scenes. That pig head you mentioned, that was like an effect and something that came out of left field in the movie, where I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like I thought that thing looked so grotesque and so cool, and that was totally that was very creative, at least for me. I was like, maybe I've seen something like this before, but just seeing this animatronic head kind of like move around looked awesome. But every time they'd cut to it like doing something fantastical and it would be CGI, I'd be like, could we just like have stuck with the practical or left something to the imagination there?
Yeah, it won me back over again, because like that's when I was kind of falling away from the movie. I'm like, all right, when are we gonna get done here? But that woke me back up. I'm like, whoa, okay, we're going, like we've seen some weird stuff already, but they took it up a notch, and I was glad they went there, like because the movie really needed it. I don't know if it stuck the landing perfectly, but just like, you know, overall at the end of the day, I had fun with this movie. It's a movie that, you know, I'll remember and have fun watching if it ever pops up randomly on Pluto TV when I'm leaving the TV on for my dog. I'm like, oh, They Will Kill You's on. Let me check this out or something. But yeah, it's not a movie that I'm going to remember for the rest of the year per se, but it was a solid Friday watch, and just like, well, I didn't see this on a Friday, but just felt like a Friday night movie, and just like, what a weird movie to play in mainstream cinemas at this point. I'm kind of stoked that we're getting more movies that are just like kind of bizarre like this out there.
I will say the other one big gripe I had with this movie is that this is one of the worst titles I've ever heard. Like, this title is horrendous. It's so uninspired, boring. It's not creative whatsoever, and it just sounds psychotic saying it to, somebody at the box office. But thank God for them that, there's not even anyone at the box office I go to anymore. So you just punch it in the kiosk and you don't seem like a psycho.
I would have gone with something like 666 High Rise or something like that. Something more like demonic to kind of match the demonic tone of the movie and the demonic imagery of the movie. This movie's very red based, lots of pentagrams, lots of, pig heads, goat heads and stuff, you name it. So this is a very devil based movie, should have a devil based title, I feel like. But yeah, we're slamming this movie, but sounds like you had fun. Sounds like I had fun, but just sounds like also it's a movie that we're not going to remember for the rest of the year. But what are your thoughts on the movie? Is it one of the best movies you've seen in a while? Let us know in the comments below. Or did you hate this movie? We're kind of in the middle, but did you hate it? Let us know why in the comments below too. And if you also know the inside scoop, let us know. That's a great way to help support the show.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all released updates.
And speaking of updates, you can catch all our social media links down below. We got links to Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, also our own personal letterbox accounts. That'll be it for this week. Tune in next week for a brand new video.